Hi, this is the co-op internship information presentation. I'm Sally Richards, the Senior Co-op Intern Program Manager in Career Services. Our office is in the Student Union, 3rd floor, Suite 313. Next. What is a co-op or internship? It's an on-site practical work experience that's relevant to your major in an industry or business environment where you're working with and learning from professionals in the field. You're being mentored and supervised by them. What's the difference between the two? A co-op is a multiple semester work term, either consecutive or rotating, but only some companies offer co-ops. Internship is a one-semester work term, and positions will be on site in the majority of cases. Next. The question is, what are the benefits of doing a co-op or internship? Next. You can gain real-world experience. It's industry experience, practical use for the theory that you've used in your academics. You get to use what you've learned. You can meet career readiness competencies, acquiring skills and gaining understanding of how to stand out in the job market. You develop skills that the workplace demands. You can network, make contacts, meet all levels of employees, maybe even ask for a recommendation letter from your manager. You can explore positions within your field of interest. You find out whether you like or you don't like the culture or the position or the industry even. You can increase your chances of making a higher salary, which is approximately $11,400 above an annual salary of an entry-level person if you've done an internship. You can save money on tuition because you're only paying for one credit plus the applicable fees. And you gain self-confidence after you've done an internship. Next. These are the eligibility requirements to earn academic credit. Any student can apply, but you must meet the minimums to earn credit. Undergrad students must have completed 30 college or university credits with a 2.5 CGPA that does not include AP credit. Graduate students must have completed 6 to 9 graduate credits in the degree area, plus they have a 3.0 CGPA. Transfer students must have completed 30 college or university credit hours with at least 12 of those credits, one full-time semester at Embry-Riddle. International students must have completed 1 academic year, that's a fall and a spring, before CPT work authorization will be issued. And all students must have good academic standing and be degree seeking. Next. How do you get started? You activate your Handshake account, log in through Ernie, complete the profile information, and to apply through Handshake, a resume must be approved. You view the co-op presentation or the co-op handout, which you're listening to now, but you can listen to after the fact as well. Follow the co-op to-do list. It's like a checklist. Meet virtually or in person with a program manager in Career Services for a mandatory advisement session. You'll review the student agreement, sign, and upload to the experiences approval request if you intend to earn credit for your co-op or internship. Failure to do so will mean that you're ineligible to register for co-op internship credit. A student agreement is located, as it says, in Handshake, and you can make an appointment on Handshake with your program manager to do that mandatory advising session. Next. As I said, you're required to have a mandatory advising session if you want to earn academic credit. You review the co-op intern program presentation on handout or on YouTube. You have a Handshake for process and procedures and schedule a mandatory advising session with your program manager for your major before you begin the experience. We will verify eligibility based on CGPA and credit hours on your transcript, confirm you understand the student agreement, we'll answer questions, and we'll review your resume and cover letter if requested. Be sure you upload those documents, though, before your session. We also have career peers in career services available daily to review your resume. Next. What is a student agreement? It's a commitment to follow the ethical and co-op process responsibilities and regulations. It clarifies the ethical issue of applying, interviewing, and accepting positions. The student agrees to adhere to the ERAU Honor Code. 3 of those values are maintaining integrity, honesty, and trust. You sign a student agreement to participate in the co-op intern program and earn credit. You want to make sure to sign it. Next. What is the application process? There are 2 ways to apply. It's a single sign-on through Ernie for Handshake. That's your first way. You're applying to positions if you meet the requirements and adhere to the listed deadlines and instructions. Some of them may tell you to go to the company website to apply. Do some research before applying. And there are mobile apps for Handshake. One is through Apple, the other through Android. Your second way of applying would be through self-created co-ops or internships. You locate the position. The position must be relevant to your major and must be approved by the co-op faculty advisor for your major. You need to be proactive in identifying self-created positions. Do research, and your program manager in career services can guide you. The career readiness competency you can meet for this is career preparation. You're navigating job options and pursuing job opportunities. Next. Where do you find opportunities? Well, you search in Handshake. There's typically over 2,000 postings that are used by many schools and employers both. You apply via company websites. You can network with your connections, your family, your friends, faculty. You participate in professional organizations, and many of those organizations have a student organization on campus. Online, if you find any companies, any campus events we have, you do some research, you can attend company information sessions online, or you can go to conferences or virtual face-to-face. You can read prior final internship papers that are on Handshake. You can utilize career services resources and services online. Open positions are in InnerStride, Career Shift, and LinkedIn, 3 different recruiting sites that are all through Handshake. Next. What about the application process, paperwork? Application documents must be submitted to individual positions posted on Handshake by the due dates listed. Apply to self-created anytime before the semester starts. All required documents, including a resume, must be uploaded to Handshake and approved in order for you to submit your resume and application paperwork to Handshake positions. Submit your requested documents. Sometimes it might be a driver's license or a pilot certificate or possibly your medical. Don't wait until the deadline to apply. Next. Okay, this is a typical application for employment, but kind of a funny one. You want to be sure, though, in any application that a company asks for, that you answer all questions honestly and accurately. 2 places that we want you to be aware of are any violations you have, any traffic violations. You want to be sure to include those because a company may do some investigating and they could find that information. And your GPA is very important. You want to make sure if you have a 2.98 CGPA that you do put that accurately. You do not say that you have a 3.0. In many things we do round up, but not in this case of the GPA. Next. After you apply, you wait patiently. If you're selected for an interview, the process may be any of those methods, Zoom, Skype, Teams, or at the company site, even on campus. If you're driving or if you're in class and you get a call, it's okay to return calls. Many of the interviews will be during July and August. The career readiness competency you can meet is communication. You're articulating ideas in applications, resumes, and interviews. Next. How do you increase your odds of getting a co-op or internship? Next. Treat all interactions with a potential employer seriously, such as virtual recruiting at conferences or career fairs. Apply to as many companies as you're interested in via handshake and self-created opportunities. Practice your interview skills and arrange for a mock interview. A mock interview is actually a practice interview. You can watch Big Interview through Handshake or Career Spots through Handshake. Career Spots is short videos that give a lot of different opportunities for you to view different career information. Have a professional email and an outgoing voicemail message. Your name if possible, no slang, and warn your roommates that you may have employers contacting you. Print a copy of the position description when you apply so you can reference it before an interview. Be sure that you're using keywords in your resume or your application. Next. But the reality is, unfortunately, an application doesn't guarantee a co-op or internship. And not all companies even notify the students that they've received an application. Companies do make all the hiring decisions, so it's an equal playing field. Positions are subject to budget allowances, number of positions, applicants pursuing the opening may be advertised but not filled all the time. Many companies who recruit from Embry-Riddle also recruit from other schools as well. It is a competitive process, and most companies want the best students. So think about these things. What makes you stand out? What qualities make you a good fit? And do you have any special skills that you can show that would be an excellent opportunity for you to get that position? Next. We're going to see a 1-minute video of some of our previous interns. It's called Interns in Action. And now what do you do after you accept an offer and had a mandatory advising session? You begin the workflow process. You visit the co-op internship program information located in Handshake resources. You'll find in that resource page, there's everything that you need to know about co-op and internship, getting approval for a request. You're going to read the program to-do list. That's the co-op internship program to-do list I mentioned before. That's like a checklist. The student submits a request via handshake, and there's a link there to show where to go. Students will be required to submit responses to experience request questions. That's the experience approval request. The required forms, which you should gather before you start the process, is a signed co-op internship student agreement form, an offer letter from the company to include the start dates and the number of hours to be worked, a job description or job description verification form, which you'll also find on that resource page. You'll also need the approver email addresses. That would be for the supervisor or the company contact, for your faculty co-op advisor, and for your career services program manager. There is an email list in the co-op intern program information attachments that you can see that. You'll be notified by your program manager in career services of your final experience approval. A contract identifies credits and is different from the student agreement. And you can read there what the process is to sign a contract once you've gotten the approval from the 3 different people that need to approve for the internship. These steps are in the co-op to-do list and checklist. Next. Okay, let's talk about course credit. You only earn upper level open elective credit for the co-op or internship work term. You complete internship requirements by the due date each term. There's a final report that's due at the end of the term and a supervisor evaluation and maybe additional assignments required by your faculty. It's due 1 week prior to the end of classes or another date if assigned by your department. You will earn a pass, a fail, or an incomplete grade at the end of the term. A pass doesn't help your GPA, but a fail does hurt. You must work 15 weeks, 600 hours in the fall term. Next. Okay, let's talk about course credit details. Undergraduate students earn 1 open elective credit for every 100 hours of work completed. For 15 weeks in the fall, you're going to work 600 hours and get a maximum of 6 credits. That's working 40 hours a week. Graduate students will earn 1 credit for every 200 hours of work completed. That again would be 15 weeks in the fall that they would work 40 hours a week, and they earn 3 credits. International students will be assigned credits according to the international SEVIS policy in order to be compliant with the US government regulations. We're working with ISS right now to determine how those credits will be assigned. Next. Okay, technical elective credit. And this is basically if you're interested in using your co-op or internship for your professional development requirement or for technical elective. You want to make sure that you read these requirements very carefully. I'm not going to go over them today. You can go ahead and go back to the video and you can see exactly what they are. Engineering students have specific requirements. They're called prerequisites before you would be able to do a co-op or internship that you could earn credit for. Okay, there is a conversion being done at this time. If you earn the 6 credits that I just explained to you for a full-time co-op, in order to get 1 course of technical elective converted from 1 semester of an internship. International students who have not taken the AE or ES prerequisite courses will not be eligible to participate in a co-op or internship experience at this time. You can talk with your faculty co-op advisor if you have questions. And if US students may register for a 200 level internship course to maintain full-time status. Next. You may be able to take academic classes along with your co-op or internship. Undergraduate students that are registered for full-time academics may take part-time co-op internship up to 3 credits, but you must get approval for 16 credits, over 16 credits, but you can't exceed 18. Undergrad students registered for full-time co-op or internship may take 2 online or Daytona Beach academic classes simultaneously. International students may only take 1. That must be authorized by ISSS. You register through Daytona Beach, and Daytona Beach rates are in effect. Graduate students and international students registered for full-time internship may only take 1 academic class simultaneously. Be sure, though, that you would be able to accomplish both your academic class and the internship if you decide to do both. Next. What are some additional policies? A co-op or internship must be completed before graduation. U.S. students can possibly delay their graduation to participate in a co-op or internship their very last semester, but this isn't applicable to international students per immigration regulations. There's no backdating of co-op internship credit. Once a co-op internship semester is over, you can't come back and ask for credit for the term that you just completed or one that you did previously or any work experience that you did previously. There's no backdating for co-op intern hours for work prior to the approval of the position. We can't give you credit for work that you did and then contacted us to try to get credit for that time because the position hasn't been approved. However, if you see 3 or 4 weeks into the term that you should have registered for credit, you can contact us and we may be able to get you registered for credit from that point on. And there's no dual enrollment at another university when you're registered for a co-op or internship at Embry-Riddle. Next. Okay, everybody's interested in the cost of the co-op or internship. For the academic year 23-24, the co-op tuition for the cost of 1 credit hour is $16.95. Florida residents, however, only pay $16.11 for 1 credit. AMS pays $9.55. There's an additional $120 fee for international students. Again, you may receive up to 6 credits for undergrad and 3 credits for grad, but you're only paying for 1 credit hour for tuition, plus your applicable academic fees that you pay every semester. You can see the information in the Student Financial Services page for fees. So you can go ahead and you can save some money by doing an internship instead of a regular class. Next. Shows money doesn't grow on trees. Next. Additional costs to consider is housing is your responsibility unless the company provides it. And there are a few companies that do provide housing. You can get resources, though, from past interns or company references, company employees, or any online resources. You will have to pay, in many cases, for your travel or transportation costs, although some companies do pay relocation fees. Any incidentals like food is something that a student is responsible for themselves. Next. We know Embry-Riddle students can be very resourceful, but we don't want you scrambling for a roof over your head. So be sure to talk to Career Services. We can assist you with some names of contacts if you can't find housing. Next. Well, what are some other considerations? Financial aid and your budget. Your budget will definitely be decreased for financial aid since you're only paying for 1 credit plus fees. And scholarships. Sometimes you cannot be part-time for financial aid. You can get financial aid, but as far as getting full financial aid, you have to be full-time. There's veterans aid to look at, Embry-Riddle housing contracts, and participating in online classes must be approved by the dean of your college. You can view those course offerings and process for registering for online classes through the registration site. We cannot register you if you have any financial holds on your account. So in order to register, you want to make sure that you pay off all your library or parking fees because those are included in a hold. You cannot be dual enrolled at another institution, like I mentioned. You also want to consider whether you're paying for insurance, whether you have to be full-time for your insurance, your auto and your health. And you can get a verification of enrollment from our records department. You are considered a full-time university student with full-time status with a full-time internship. Next. Okay, international students do have a number of other regulations that they do have to follow. Again, please read this very carefully if you're an international student, because there are a number of additional requirements. You will work with ISS and Career Services to get approval for CPT. You want to make sure the first step that you do, though, you have to get an online verification from ISSS. And that verification has nothing to do with you being approved for a co-op or an internship, other than it's the first step that allows you to start to apply for co-ops and internships. You verify your eligibility with Career Services before accepting a co-op or internship position. You do the same thing as everyone else. You have a mandatory advising, you sign a student agreement, then you start the workflow, the experiences approval request. You must sign a co-op contract with Career Services to maintain full-time student status in the US and get your work authorization, which is the CPT. Full-time CPT is only required during the spring and the fall. Sometimes during summer, you can do part-time. But once that contract is signed for Career Services and the internship is registered, then you're going to use the ISSS online software and you're going to answer questions and follow the requirements according to them to be able to get your CPT. The dates of the work experience must be provided. CBIS ISSS also requires a copy of your offer letter that you're going to upload to their software. An immigration status, that's your F1 visa, could be revoked if you work without any authorization. So just be sure you know that, and any questions you have, make sure you talk to Career Services or International Student Services. Next. You're expected to maintain ethical and professional standards at all times. What's a simple definition of ethics? It's knowing what's right and wrong and doing what's right. Why does this matter? Well, we want companies to have a good impression of Embry-Riddle students. A company's impression of our students and the entire university community is based on the impression that you leave. If there's any negative issues, it could jeopardize the university's relationship, your own relationship, and the relationship that that company might have in the future with other students. There is a big impact, so conduct yourself professionally. Next. We expect you to be professional and maintain good moral conduct. Companies do some investigating when they're recruiting, and so we want to make sure that you clean up your social media. 80 to 90% of human resource and recruiters search social media online. Be sure your digital footprint reflects a professional image of who you are. Okay, what are your ethical responsibilities? You want to be truthful in all statements and documents and applications. Like I said before, the traffic violations and your CGPA are two big things. You may not interview or accept a position with another company if you've accepted a position, verbal or written, for that term. If you accept a co-op or internship, you cannot back out. That is called renege on your commitment for a better position. You will not be able to register for another internship for credit that particular term if that does happen. Good ethical conduct requires that you fulfill your commitments, including completion of all your rotations. Aviation is a relatively small industry. This could leave a bad impression on you and on the university. Next. Okay, another thing, we want to make sure that there's no lying on your resume, because that is definitely a reason for dismissal. Many companies have zero tolerance, and if that was found out, you would be let go. Okay, again, this is fictitious, but companies will find out. Next. How do you show professionalism? You're prepared at all times in any interactions with potential employers, by company information sessions, phone calls, and email. That could affect your co-op internship search. Don't use slangs or abbreviations or emojis. Be courteous and polite. Ensure you follow all etiquette rules and have an appropriate outgoing voicemail. Answer your phone calls professionally. Professionalism is expected at all times. Show employers you can make the transition from student to professional. The career readiness competency you can meet is professionalism. Exhibit effective work habits, punctuality, productivity, personal accountability, time management, integrity, and ethical behavior. Next. This should be your model. I always follow the rules. Next. Okay, here's information about some of the career competencies. We talked about a few of them, but you can see the other ones, and you may be able to meet a number of these competencies by doing a co-op or an internship, either while you're preparing for it or during the time. And again, we call this Eagle Elevate. Next. These are some of the services and resources we offer through Career Services. And you'll notice towards the bottom, the in-person Fall Industry Career Expo is Tuesday, October the 10th. If you're on a co-op or internship, you may not be able to attend, but you can remember that it's on that October 10th date. And if you're on campus, you certainly should apply for positions there. Next. This is the way to access Handshake. Next. And there's a lot of our social media connections where you can stay connected to Career Services. There is a program manager for each degree program in Handshake you can find, or you can talk to Career Services and find out who your program manager is. Good luck to you as you search. Next. Thank you for attending.